The other day, I talked to one of our Business Energetics Academy's new clients, and we had such an emotional moment together because before we even talked, from her intake form, I could see, wow, this powerful change maker is undercharging. So no wonder when this amazing client was offloading why she even stepped into Business Energetics Academy, what was calling her. She already was crying because she felt in her words that, Lenka, I am giving my clients so much and I'm receiving so little, and enough of that. And I know that she was speaking for thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of powerful, dedicated, brilliant leaders, entrepreneurs and change makers who are bearing their heart on their sleeve, are so devoted to their craft and so devoted to service, and yet are not paid what you deserved. And yet maybe you're even sometimes resentful because you give so much and receive so little. And we're going to put the end of it today, okay? I was one of those powerful change makers where I cried and cried because I was giving myself so much but received so little. Pricing is a huge part of it, how we're going to change it. Because if you're like most overgiving, devoted change makers, you will find it hard to raise your fees. Maybe you even tried. Maybe you know intuitively, or just you know that what you charge for your offerings is not enough. But maybe you tried to raise your fees and chickened out, quote unquote, because nobody was buying, or you feel like that sense of abandonment. If I charge more, I'll outprice what my clients can afford, or I'll outprice myself. So I totally get it. I totally get this way of thinking. And today, what I'm going to give you is something incredibly powerful. I'm going to give you 8 business energetics pricing principles, or if you like, codes, as I often call them, that will help your mind to understand why you're feeling that discomfort when you're raising your fees to where they should be. And they will make your nervous system to feel a lot safer and grounded when you will be aligning your fees when they're meant to be, so that you can be generously rewarded, so you can receive what's rightfully yours, and at the same time make the level of impact you were born to make. Because this is the only way, only when you charged aligned fees made for impact, through which you can not only be paid generously and manifest the freedom and so forth that you desire, but make the level of impact on others you were born to make, the highest level of service, right? Plus, at the end of these 8 codes, I have for you a bonus energetic exercise, a process, if you will, which is wildly effective in terms of helping you to be a lot more comfortable about raising your fees. I remember one client a while ago who turned up at one-on-one coaching session with me saying, Lenka, after this session, I have a sales call with a potential client. I feel she's a really aligned client, but I'm nervous because up to now I charged 2.5K and I know I need to charge 5K because it's so misaligned, this 2.5K. I know it's worth 5K, but I'm so nervous. So I took her through this exercise, and it was 15 minutes after our call ended. She called, Lenka, this was the easiest sales call ever. And I cannot believe how I could feel even uncomfortable about that new fee. It was so easy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I'm going to share that exercise with you at the end. But first, we've got to go through those 8 business energetics principles around pricing and those codes. You've got to receive them, because without them, that exercise will be kind of worthless. So let's go to those 8 powerful pricing codes. And just in case we don't know each other yet, hi, welcome to my community. I'm Lenka Lutonska. I'm a creator of Business Energetics, which is wildly effective methodology for creating business growth beyond logic and fulfillment beyond measure. But it's far more than that. It's a global movement which is setting a brand new standard for how we go about business growth. energetic, exponential, effortless. So I thank you for being part of this movement and joining this powerful community of visionaries and leaders of a new economy. And I want to start here. Your fees are a frequency. Treat them as such. Yes, this is the first business energetic pricing principle and code that overarches everything else that we're going to talk about. You see, when we think of fees, how much should I charge for this or that? It's very easy to think of them as just numbers and how much people can invest and so forth, and what do I need to price for profitability. They're far more than numbers. Your fees are frequency. It's energetic field. It's a declaration to the universe within. And each frequency will carry a very different set of identity and very different energetic opportunity for growth for you and your clients. I'll give you an example. Right now, I no longer offer strict one-on-one private coaching because I have an incredible inner circle and I can do so much more powerfully inside of inner circle what I used to do inside of one-on-one private coaching. But before I closed down my private coaching, I was charging £120,000 per year. Now, there is a version of me which would find this number, £120,000 a year, crazy, insane. Literally, I cannot comprehend what you're talking about. How dare you charge 120 grand a year? It's impossible. There is that version of me that would think like that. But that version of me also was much smaller holder for clients and incredible transformations in the world. So in other words, yes, in that time from where I was charging, I would tell you at the beginning, I would have real discomfort to charge £2,000 for a full-on coaching package. And I would be even discounting that version of me, that self-identity, yes, 120,000, it's completely unbelievable, but that version of me could not simply ever create a business that spans across 184 countries and creates so much difference in the world, and business that completely changed my life around in every single way, in the most remarkable ways. That version of me could never ever do that. So does it mean that I went directly from 2,000 to 120,000 for one-on-one coaching? Of course not. In between, there was a journey of evolution. Yes, one could say, yeah, but you grew a business. In the meantime, you went from the zeros to millions. So, of course, you can now charge those fees. But I never charged the fees because I earned my way to charge those fees. I always charge the fees knowing it's a frequency. It's a frequency of who I'm becoming. It's a frequency of who my clients are becoming. It's an activation into the next level of identity. So my intuition would give me along the way that next level of pricing, and that next level of pricing captured in itself, had in itself, contained in itself everything that was needed for my next becoming, for my client's next becoming, for business growth. So that frequency of my fees was leading me from zero to millions, you see? So when I was charging 2K fees, the level of identity, I knew I'm undercharging. I realized that very quickly when I was there. Or at some point it became really undercharged fee. So when I got uncomfortable because I knew that the fees got to go up to be aligned, I took it as invitation to step through that next threshold of identity. And I took it as invitation for my clients to play the higher frequential game. So my clients could receive more transformations, more results, more growth, more everything as they were stepping into my programs, as they were investing in my services, you see. So you feel this principle a lot more as we go along. But for now, invitation is simple. Do not treat your fees just as a numbers for profitability game or who can afford what. Treat them as frequency, because your fees are frequencies. Your fees are an activation. Your fees are identity code. Your fees are a portal, an opening of becoming, both for you and your clients. So as you go along, as you continue raising your fees to be in alignment, you will not raise your fees when you become more. You will raise your fees to become more, and for your clients to become more, okay? And before we continue, I would love to give a quick shout out to the sponsor of today's video, and that is Business Energetics Academy. Because honestly, what else would it be? Because it's Business Energetics Academy where business beyond logic, where wild wealth beyond limits, where limitless success beyond strategy, and where fulfillment beyond measure don't just become possible, they become inevitable. And so if you're watching this and thinking, hey, I want to grow my business from this place and I want to be a co-architect of this new global paradigm in the world, well, you're already being called into the field of Business Energetics Academy. The link is below this video and you will know if it's for you. And for now, let's continue with the magic, shall we? Code number 2, or business energetic pricing principle number 2. Do not price from reactive consciousness, price from creative consciousness. If you've been around for a while, you've heard me speaking about the difference between reactive consciousness and creative consciousness over and over again, because it's like night and day when it comes to creating that limitless growth and growth beyond logic and impact, limitless impact you deserve to make. You see, when you price from reactive consciousness, that thinking goes something like this: how much should I charge so others can afford it? Or how much should I charge so I kind of fit in the marketplace? You look around, you compare, and you don't want to charge too much, you don't want to charge too little. You based on what others are charging. How much should I charge so I feel comfortable with it, or clients feel comfortable with it, and so forth and so forth. Reactive consciousness is based on mimicking environment, it's based on comparison, it's based on often on fear, it's based on old wounds, it's based on your current self-identity or even your past identity. This is not where the growth for you, your business and your clients exists. When you shift and you start charging from creative consciousness based on what you feel deep down is right, is pricing for impact, that's a whole different game. So this is how it goes, and this is where we start. You ask yourself, the fully claimed version of me, the next version of me as a CEO, as a change maker and so forth, how much would he or she charge for this? Let's start here. See what comes up. Tune into that next version of you. See what she or he would whisper to you. You already know the aligned fee. Now, that fee may make your heart flutter with excitement and contract body a little bit because you're so nervous. And that's okay. But this is how you price for impact. In fact, I'm going to give you in a very brief summary 3 questions via which you can price for impact intuitively and in a very aligned way. So think of your ideal client and you'll ask, how much does my ideal client need to invest in this, whatever that this is, so that A, they can see the value, because fees create perception. So how much do they need to invest so that they can see the actual value of this offering? Number 2, how much do they need to invest so they commit fully, so they surrender to the process, so they don't go there, oh, let me try it. And how much do they need to invest so that I get generously rewarded? In other words, you'll get profitable, your business is profitable. It will be probably the same fee. Then you go through, how much would my next version of self charge for this? What is the right fee? It's probably going to be the same. Simply put, you know, your higher self, that aspect of you beyond your logic, beyond your thinking, that much wiser part of you already knows what is that most aligned fee for impact for you and for your clients. So this way of pricing is creative pricing. It's not going around how much do I need to charge and so forth and so forth. This is going and trusting your own intuition, your own heart. It's not easier way to follow. I get it. It's not easier. However, it's also the fastest way to your greatest expansion, to your business expansion, and to expansion of your clients. And to explain more fully what I mean, that this is actually the fastest way for your business expansion and expansion of everyone involved, let me go to the third principle, business energetic pricing principle, or a code, and that is: don't price to prove, price to declare. You see, this fee that your higher self, higher version of self already knows that is aligned, divinely perfect fee for impact, it might stretch your current self, but it's in complete opposite to what you might be used to doing, and that is proving through your fees. How much do I need to charge so I can prove I'm a great coach, mentor, this and that? Let me do a trial of a program. Let me test this in the marketplace. Let me prove myself, essentially. What you're going to get when you price your offerings or do anything else from the energy of proving, what you're going to get? You're going to get more of that. You're going to get more and more of manifested evidence that you are not good enough, because this is what you are doing through consciousness of proving. You are declaring to the universe within you over and over again, I'm not good enough. And I'm saying it with so much compassion because I used to do this for years. And here's the thing, when you price from energy of proving, it never works. I remember when I was talking to potential clients, now I'm going probably a decade ago, when I had a really hard time. This was that period of my becoming, but I was struggling and I needed clients to pay even the basic household bills. So I needed every client. So I'm talking to this potential client, Lisa, and she said, I resonate with you and perhaps you could help me with your coaching. So we're talking on the phone. But as she was explaining her situation and so forth, she never even asked, but already in my head, undiscounted my fees because I so wanted to work with her and I so wanted to be chosen. I so wanted to be chosen and I so wanted to prove that I'm a great coach, and I so needed it. I so needed the money. So I discounted, I think it was at the time 2K coaching fee. I discounted it quite a bit just so there would be no resistance, just so it could be an easy yes. What do you think happened? As I stated, that discounted fee, normally it would be this much, but because is this much, as I discounted the fee, that client said, well, let me think about it. And she went off. And then a few days later, I got confirmation from her saying, I'm sorry, I'm withdrawing. I will not be coaching with you at this time. Now, I cannot remember if it's exactly at that time or much later when she said that the reason why she withdrew and she was thinking about it and never really stepped into that coaching at that time is because she could feel that I'm discounting my fees. So she thought, okay, why? How will she be able to hold me and my energy if she's discounted the fees so heavily before we even started? And of course, it was like boom, 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 big knife into my chest, but very needed because it was part of my becoming when I realized like never ever I will do this and price from proving. And guess what? This story luckily has got a happy ending because roughly speaking, 18 months later, I increased my fees by roughly speaking 4 times over. And at that time, this same client approached me again. And we had brief, beautiful conversation. And during that conversation, she pulled out her credit card. Let me pay in full. This was 4 times more fees than the initial ones. Because what? Because at that time, I wasn't pricing to prove myself. I was pricing to declare, this is who I am. This is the value of what I'm offering. This is the transformational field I'm calling you into. That's the declaration I started to make, and the declaration just became more and more and more powerful along the way. Is it easiest road? No, because the logic might say, yeah, but if you incrementally raise your fees and you need to create this ladder and so forth and so forth, that's the logical way, that's the quickest way. No, just as you saw on this story, no, charging no-brainer fees and so forth when they're misaligned is never gonna work. Going for aligned fees and charging not from proving but from declaration, yes, takes courage, but it's the fastest way, because if you charge in a misaligned way, you'll just be stuck in that old identity for longer and longer and longer. And even if you have some level of success on misaligned low fees, it will be much more difficult to get yourself unstuck from that identity later on. So it's not the easier way, it's not the fastest way, this incremental or logical increases, proving yourself, it never works. So let's recap business energetic pricing principle and code number 3. You do not price to prove, you price to declare. Business energetic pricing principle number 4. Don't price for everyone, price for your super aligned 5-star clients. Because again, this is just one of those things when you get so lost sometimes. What will other people be able to afford it? So we're going outwards, we're going about it reactively. No, no, no. When you're pricing, whatever is it that you're pricing, you're focusing on the best, most incredible, I call them 5-star clients, those type of clients that when you work with, they will give you energy rather than drain your energy. You look forward to working with them, whether it's in your one-to-one capacity or group capacity. You come out of those sessions or whatever you do with them. I do sessions, I do teachings, I do activations, but you might be doing consultancy, you might be doing something completely else. Whatever it is, you come out of it more energized than you stepped into it. And then you know you're working with your 5-star clients. Define them and then price for them, not for anyone else. You're not one of many, you're category 101. And so your clients are not everyone. Your aligned clients are not meant to be any average person on the street. There are just too many shades of consciousness and ways of thinking and so forth. Be selfish, and I say this in the most divine way. Yourself, that divine self, be selfish when it comes to who you want to serve. Be super authentic, unapologetic, define that client and create pricing for impact for them. Now here I want to make a little disclaimer also. As I'm talking about these various principles, business energetic principles around pricing, you might get an idea, so what? If I charge 22 for something or 100 for something, am I wrong? Am I being in an old identity? No, I never said that. Low pricing or low cost or low tier pricing, however you want to call them, can be perfectly aligned. But it depends what it is for, what kind of offering. Here, we're talking about pricing for impact. We're talking about your highest level of service, your highest level of products. I routinely create offerings that I charge, I don't know, 22, 33, 100, whatever it might be, the low tier of pricing, but I do it from the place of sharing. I'm here for service to humanity, so to speak. So I'll create the activations, I'll create the masterclasses for low cost, for purpose of sharing, sending the business energetics into the wide consciousness. And I love it, love it, love it. But it's never from the consciousness of, I've got to charge only 22 or 33 or 100 or 200 or whatever it is, so I prove myself in the marketplace. Nah. So yes, if you charge low cost from power, from energy of sharing, sending the power of your voice and genius wide, yes. But here we're talking about pricing for impact, pricing your highest level services and products. Okay? So back to these principles. No, don't price for everyone. Price for your super aligned 5-star clients. Define them, be selfish, divinely selfish, and price for them. This is going to be completely different game, frequency, level. Completely different. Business energetic pricing principle number 5. Do not price to save. Price to empower. Again, I said it, that the fees are frequency. And oftentimes we fall into our lower mind archetypes, our inner child and our victim and our prostitute archetype and our logician and from there, we think, oh, I so want to help my clients. I so want to serve. I want to help everyone. So I'm going to set the fees that they can definitely afford it. It's that pricing from service. And then what happens next? Yes, you charge very little so everyone can afford it. So you can definitely help them. And then you have maybe plenty of clients, and then you're getting really tired, and then you're getting exhausted, and then you'll get even resentful that how much you're giving and how little you're receiving. Because what you're actually doing is you are pushing your clients by wanting to consciously or unconsciously save them and pricing accordingly. You are pushing them up that hill of their evolution, their results, their transformation when they want to be, pushing them up the hill. That's not what you want to do as the most powerful change maker. That's what we do as prostitutes. And I'm speaking about energetic archetype of prostitute with respect. Yes? So that's what we do. It's exhausting and it's not helpful for the client. In a short term, they'll get results. Maybe. Yes, it's possible. But in a medium, long term, it's disempowering. Saving is disempowering because as you push them up the hill and as you do everything with them, because, hey, it's not stopping at the pricing, right? Pricing for saving is just one thing. You will do it everywhere else. You will overgive. You will break your boundaries and just will be answering every question of your client, blah, blah, blah. So you will be doing pushing, and all the while you will be not only exhausting yourself, but you will be robbing your clients of the opportunity to reach deep within themselves to find resources that are there, their resourcefulness, their internal power, their creativity to make their own journey up. That is what is true empowerment. That is what is true transformation. And I know you want to facilitate true transformations, not the short term, maybe quick results type of transformations, right? For that, you want to price and do everything else to not to save, but to empower. The metaphor for it is I'm standing tall on my hill of becoming, and I give my clients all the guidance, inspiration that they need to make their way up. In other words, you will be a lighthouse standing on the top of that hill, shining your light so that others can follow. That is true empowerment. In that way, as the clients will their own way up, they will build themselves from within. And that is everlasting. That will serve them for their lifetime. The next business energetic pricing principle or a code is a gentle reminder. And that is that when you charge higher, that doesn't mean you need to give more and overgive. Because again, our little human, ego mind identity, this is what we do sometimes. Yes, okay, I'll raise my fee, I'll make them aligned, but in the process, I'm going to add this bonus and that bonus, and I'm going to expand this so they can see how valuable it is. In other words, justify. In other words, again, operating from that I'm not good enough consciousness. No, that's stopping here if you can recognize yourself in that. Higher fees do not require more bonuses, more features, and so forth. Higher fees require more clarity, more certainty, more alignment. And that's what you'll bring to the table as you step into that next level of identity of yours. Okay? And the next business energetics pricing principle or a code is a reminder that charging higher doesn't also mean that you take responsibility for what is not yours to carry. Because again, this is one of those things that oftentimes create a discomfort around aligning your fees so they really are priced for impact. And that is that, oh my goodness, but if I charge more, what if I won't be able to deliver? What if my clients won't create the results they want? What if? And that is because your inner child wants to take the responsibility that is not hers or his to take. So you've got to let go of responsibility that is not yours to carry by really sitting down and becoming a lot more conscious about what is actually your responsibility and your client's responsibility in this relationship. Define it, and then of course it becomes obvious that this is a co-creation. You're not there to, for instance, create results for your clients. Unless that's your way of working, fine, but vast majority of change makers, that's not how we should create the difference. But you're facilitating these results and transformations. You're giving your clients tools, strategies, guidance, and so forth and so forth. So it's a very much act of co-creation. You're a powerful holder of the energy. You're energetically, if you like, you're providing the codes, and clients will make the journey through the forest of these transformations or on that hill, so they can, in whatever area of life or business you're supporting them with, they can really become the next version of themselves. And here also what is really useful is to be able to check whether you are actually able or willing to stand in a magician consciousness and certainty when it comes to facilitating that biggest result. I'll give you an example. Inside of Business Energetics Academy, there are 4 core pathways or year-long embodiment program, and each of them carry literally a different or higher and higher identity of yours. From limitless creator, the person behind the business and life, where you become limitless in terms of manifesting, receiving, and so forth. Change maker, making the level of impact and experiencing the level of freedom you were here to make. Limitless millionaire, which is about the scaling all that you have multiplied with energy, and then legacy leader inside of Inner Circle. So these do carry very, very powerful frequencies and very powerful, if you like, end results, identities. Now, if I had even a flicker of a doubt about, can my clients, when they step into Limitless Creator, can they truly become limitless creators? Can they truly multiply their ability to receive, to manifest, and so forth? If I had even a flicker of a doubt, that would, of course, influence how much I would feel aligned to charge, as well as everything else. But I don't have even a flicker of a doubt. I'm certain because I decided, because I created first and foremost these powerful transformation programs from the pure creative magician consciousness. So I know that as I'm feeling into that wisdom of the heart and talking to these offerings, when I talk to Business Energetics Academy, what it wanted to become, when I talk to Limitless Creator as living being, living frequency, and Changemaker and Limitless Millionaire and Inner Circle, what it wanted to become, I said, yes, 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 it is so, it is so, it is so. And the clients stepping into Business Energetics Academy, they create phenomenal transformation, guaranteed, every single one. This is life-changing, business-changing environment. I made those decisions before. So I can stand fully by my offerings and therefore my pricing. Is that case? Is that your case? If yes, perfect. If not, we've got a little bit of work to do. And actually, sometimes it's simple. Yes, it's about deciding. So write it down perhaps, stand by it, step into that magician consciousness, which is in all of us. It's just how used to you are operating from your magician consciousness. And secondly, sometimes a little mind trick for our little human is removing the condition when. Because when you say, for example, I do facilitate incredible transformations and growth, say, help my clients to become limitless millionaires, I know it with 100% certainty is going to happen for each and every of my clients. But I don't know when. I don't know where exactly they're now and what unique journey they need to walk. So I'm free of that burden and free of that condition that it needs to happen in the next week. Otherwise, I'm not delivering. You see how the human mind identity, how the little human can be sometimes clever. So remove that condition of when those biggest, most powerful transformations will happen, and that will help you to step into the certainty that they will happen. They are happening. The moment the client invests in your services, it will help you to be in that certainty, to become that pillar of certainty. Okay? And the final 8th business energetic pricing principle and code is this one. Embody your aligned fees before charging your aligned fees. Now, this is, to me, is very obvious, but sometimes it's not. So what I mean by that is here. Charging the fees, as we talked about, is a frequency and it's about activation and portal of becoming. So for you to be able to charge the aligned fees where they're meant to be, you also got to embody them first by your choices. So what I mean by that is that, let's say if somebody wants to charge 50K, but they never invested 50K in something similar or in themselves, it's going to be incredibly difficult for your identity and especially for your human mind and nervous system to be able to just hold this 50K energy when you're charging. It's a mismatch. It's a mismatch between what you are, so the choices you made, and what you want to do. Yes, what you want to become. So you've got to become your fees. So how you go about it? Stretch yourself. For instance, for me, as you might know, I love creating some special experiences for my clients. So right now, at the time of this recording, I'm creating a special one-day event for my decided ones, as well as one-day legacy code immersion day for my inner circle clients. Now, some version in past would go about curating these days in terms of what I can afford and what makes sense and making sure it's kind of profitable or we don't go into loss with these events, blah, 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 blah. But that's a very old version of myself. I don't do that anymore. When I create these experiences, be it a retreat or be it immersion day or something like that for my clients, I treat it as becoming embodiment, not just for clients, for me as well. So my job is to walk first. So when I'm now creating this experience for my clients, I'm not going by what we can afford and or what will make sense rather, so we're not in loss too much, blah, blah, blah. No, it's not logical. I'm looking at the places and associated fees and the structure of the day that is stretching me, that is stretching my current version of self. So instead of, let's say, a meeting room that would suffice in a nearby beautiful hotel that we have, I'm looking at the more sophisticated places. I'm looking at not just what it will allow my clients to step into that environment that will allow them to step into, but who am I becoming as I'm curating this experience, as I'm committing to paying that fee, that I'm paying those fees. I'm calling more of my power and divinity into me as I'm doing something not logical when it comes to business, because I don't have to, but rather I'm going by, again, frequency, by that overarching principle that my fees are frequency. And with this, I'm going to embody that higher and higher frequency. Again, I walk that path first before my clients so they can receive those codes and they can believe in themselves and so forth even more and create from that more powerful place more. And this is how they're creating more and more powerful transformations, results, growth, and so forth. Does that make sense? So yes, I'll pay higher fees before I charge higher fees, in a nutshell. Or I pay, when I step into the next level of identity, I'm not looking just what I want to charge, but also what I want to pay. I want to go and pay £60,000 just like that, where currently it's normal for me to pay, say, £5,000 just like that, or £10,000 just like that. So I want to be that woman that pays 60,000 instead. So okay, I'll invite that level of identity. I connect with her. I let her be in guide. I feel her in my body. First, I let that version of me panic my nervous system a little bit. That's okay temporarily, but I let it settle. I breathe. I imagine. I'm making more and more familiar, more and more safe. And then very quickly, I will do a choice. Some choice, let's say, hiring something, booking something, buying something, investing into something that is of that frequency. And like, woof, okay, I did that. My current version of self or my past version of self would never ever do that, but I'm doing it because I'm becoming. And then I'll become automatically what's happening. I send a very strong signal to my human mind, to my body, that I'm in this. This is who we are. We're safe in our bigness. And from that place, how much more aligned am I to charge much higher fees? Million times, right? I don't even need to hold the energy to charge higher fees because I became, through those choices, I became that version of me that just is this version of me. Therefore, I don't need to even strive or think or whatever to hold those fees. Does it make sense? That's how you become 100% match to those higher level fees, by embodying those fees first, by making those choices yourself first. And if you've done those choices already, just acknowledge it, because sometimes the clients will pay me, maybe 5 figures, multiple 5 figures, or whatever it might be. And then they say, but I feel nervous about charging these fees. That's okay. By the way, it's okay to feel a little uncomfortable when you're increasing your fees. Do not wait for the time when you feel 100% aligned. No, it's okay. All you want to be in the place where, fine, I know what is right. So your identity, the next level of identity is guiding you. You aligned fees for impact, so you raise them, and then you work with your human mind, our little human, and your body to catch up, to make yourself feel more and more comfortable and safe. So that can happen in a process. Don't wait until you all together completely aligned before you raise your fees. So it's okay to feel a little uncomfortable, but the reason why I said this is because if you already invested, let's say, into Business Energetics Academy, into one of my programs, certain amount, or into somewhere else, certain amount for the purpose of growth and becoming the version of you meant to be, you already are an energetic match to charge those fees. It's just your mind and body will want to catch up. So let them. All right? Excellent. And these are the 8 business energetics pricing principles or codes that will support you deeply in raising your fees, stop undercharging your genius, and ultimately make a level of impact you came here to make. But as promised, I want to also give you a little exercise, a wildly effective exercise for making you feel more comfortable with those new aligned fees. And let's call this exercise, do not compare backwards, compare forwards. You see, I'll give you an example. Let's say if your new desired fee or aligned fee is 5K and you feel uncomfortable about it because let's say you're doubling your fee. So the reason why it feels uncomfortable, big reason why, is because you're comparing 5K to the old or current version of you. So of course it will feel uncomfortable. Of course it will feel unfamiliar. It's new. It's a higher level. It's your becoming. What I'll invite you to do is to compare that 5K version of you to the next version of you after that. Because if you have 5K version of you, if that's what's calling you now, there will be also 10K version of you. Double that number and go there. Connect with that level of identity of yours. Imagine that, what would it be like to charge confidently 10K, double of that new aligned fee, and feeling really good about it, hearing yes after yes, loving facilitating those levels of transformation. What would it be like? Go there and see. When you compare it to that, then it will feel normal because you're actually remembering yourself. It will feel embodied in your body. So this is how that client I mentioned at the beginning went from this exercise to the sales call and simply doubled her fees on the call, and within 15-20 minutes she had a first sale very, very easily by comparing her new desired fee to the future version of her that charges even double that rather than current or past version of self. Try it and let me know how it goes. In this video, you received plenty of incredible information and energy to activate your next version of self and to give you awareness what it's needed, or a little bit of what's needed to become that version of self. But just imagine that you really will be, that you really will become that version of you that, say, charges 2 times, 5 times, 10 times more, makes 2 times, 5 times, 10 times more impact, creates 2 times, 5 times, 10 times more freedom and luxury, and receives 2 times, 5 times, 10 times more love, more goodness from life, more everything that you deserve. So what we're talking about here is going from activation and awareness raising to becoming. And that, my dear, is going to happen inside of Business Energetics Academy. So So I invite you, if you're not in Business Energetics Academy yet, to explore its 4 core pathways or program and to decide which of these 4 pathways, or if you like the rooms, are the best match for you, your vision, and your becoming. Because this is where you will get business energetics in its fullness. This is where you will get all the support, all the energy, all that you need to become the version of you as a woman, man, leader, change maker, and entrepreneur, receiver, and creator that you deserve to be. I will leave links somewhere below in the description. And of course, you can always request a call with one of our incredible Business Energetics mentors, which will give you space to explore what is truly right for you so you can make the best decision for you and your future. And secondly, before I say goodbye, just for now, I will love to hear in the comments below which of these 8 codes or principles talked to you most and what you're going to change about your pricing. I will love to hear from you. Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.